Hello, everyone. This is Pastor Roland, checking in to see how you're doing. Today, I want to talk about spiritual guidance. First of all, spiritual guidance, because a lot of people come to my website looking for guidance. And I also want to talk about spiritual direction. Now, what is spiritual direction? Well, spiritual direction is helping people to reconnect with God, helping people to walk with God, helping people to find the spiritual side of life. Now, there's a big continuum there, all the way from people who are just getting started, all the way to people who are already on the path. And it's a very beautiful thing, a very beautiful thing. In fact, that's the most important thing in life, is finding God and walking with God and finding out God's will and then doing God's will. Okay? Now, as you can see, doing God's will, in other words, obeying God, has to do with love. Because only people who love God will want to do His will. So you can see, if a person could let go of their judgment, their anger, and their resentments, and if a person could get out of their thoughts, which mislead them, and gain some objectivity, then you can see how that person then could begin to live in the present, in the beautiful present, in God's presence, in the present. And from there on, in the hands of God, see, things would begin to resolve themselves, both within and without. Things would begin to resolve themselves with God's help. See, we can't change ourselves. You can't change your nature. The nature you were born with, a kernel of pride, and born with a fallen nature. You can't help that. It's what you inherit. And then you went on to add to the corruption, and then you fell through your angers, resentments, and then what you did to assuage the pain for your angers and your resentments. See? So spiritual direction is how I can help you with the meditation. See, the meditation that I have, very special meditation that helps you to get out of thinking, to stand back from thought, and to become still in the present, to find the discipline of stillness in the present. And it's very simple, it's beautiful, and it's actually free. I make it free. And with the help of the meditation, then you can begin to see things the way they really are. See yourself the way you really are, and other people as they are. You can begin to have compassion on others, and then compassion on yourself. And you begin to discover a lot of resentments and secret hostilities and angers and so on that you didn't even know you had. And let them go. In God's light. See, now you see, when you're to be in God's light, God's healing light, God's warm light, to experience His love, and begin to see things in the light. Things become cleared up, resolved in the light. But your soul needs to become still, so that the light can penetrate. Okay? And what you've done up till now is you've been hiding down in thinking, down in the imagination. See, down there's no light. And you hid from God. And now you come back to God by learning to become still in the present with the help of the meditation. And then, that may be all you need, the meditation. And then, of course, my videos, my radio programs, my books are very helpful, because what I do is I talk about what you may discover, or what you undoubtedly will discover, as you now become objective, and now you have the light to shine upon things. You begin to see things in God's light, and those things that your own wrongs, you see them and now you're sorry for them. You're sorry about what you see, and you realize you can't change yourself, so you regret the way you are. And that contrition about what you see about yourself, your own impatience and phoniness and angers and so on, that's acceptable to God, and He forgives you. Okay? And then He begins to upgrade you. See? So as time goes by, once you were a very judgmental person, an angry person, a resentful person, a phony person, a person who was running from God's light. Now you become a friend of God. And you begin to let go of all these angers and resentments and hostilities. And you become a simple person living in the present. And you begin to see many wonderful things. First you see your own wrongs. Okay? You see your own wrongs. So there'll be a period of time where it seems like the only thing you're seeing is your own faults. You just have to bear that for a while. But then you'll also begin to see shining truths. Things that you used to suspect were true, beautiful things you heard in church that you liked but you weren't sure. Now you'll see. You'll wake up one morning, and all of a sudden you'll realize something. You'll know something is true, and you don't even know how you know, but you just know. You'll begin to understand about Christ and about God and why He came. You begin to understand people. Okay? And you'll see that other people are just lost souls struggling, so you won't resent them anymore. See? So it's just endless good things once you begin the journey. Okay? So, my meditation is free, of course. My audio from my radio program and my videos are all free. The only thing that costs something are my books, okay? But you can get them very cheaply from me for a small donation. I can send you a PDF of the book by email, or you can get it at Amazon. See, it's not a big deal. And then if you need help from me, see what some people do, for example, is they will begin to meditate and they'll start making progress. Then they'll have something that they don't understand or need help with, and they contact me, and then we email back and forth, or it could be Skype, see, or it could be live chat at my website. And then after I help them, spend some time with them, okay, then a lot of times people will then make a donation of some sort, $10 or $20, something, just because they realize that I use the money to pay for airtime and pay for the internet time. Okay, so you see how simple it is, okay, and how easy. And then of course I also have the Presto Expert site. See, some people, they want to be anonymous, or other people just like to operate through the Presto Experts. They use their credit card there, and then it's on a per minute basis. Okay, so that works. That's fine too. So there's just various ways of contacting me and getting my help. But like I said, the first thing is to get the meditation. First thing is to listen to some of my radio, some of my YouTube talks, read some of my free blog posts and articles, and then you'll see where I'm coming from. You'll begin to understand what the meditation is and why it can be so helpful, and then maybe start practicing it. Then after you start practicing the meditation, then you might have some questions, or something that you don't get, or some aspect of the meditation you need a little help with. Some people get stuck a little bit, and so that's where I can come in and help, see? All right, so I think I've covered quite a bit today. I wanted to just make a short 2 or 3 minute little talk about spiritual direction, and I ended up talking about letting go of anger and resentment, things like that. But I think you can see how important those are. Okay, because as a spiritual director, I can see that over 25 years, I've seen that people's biggest issues are resentment, Judgment. Resentment and judgment. You especially see that between husbands and wives, which is where I'm very helpful because I really understand the the man-woman relationship, and with my help, with my books, especially my book Myths and Mysteries of Marriage and my book Putting the Forever Back in Love, you really will gain some understanding of marriage, okay? Because there's a lot of there's a lot of misinformation out there, and so it doesn't take long to read, read a few chapters of my book, which is a real page turner, and your eyes will be open. You'll begin to see, oh, I see where I've been messing up, especially you dads, you husbands. So anyway, there's a lot. See, I've written 18 books. I wanted to read you something from Madame Guyon. Forgot. This is called Experiencing God Through Prayer. There it is, Experiencing God Through Prayer, by Madame Jeanne Guyon. Madame Jeanne Guyon was a very nice lady that lived in the 1600s, and she's let's call her a mystic, okay? And she wrote this little book in French. It's called A Short and Easy Method of Prayer. That's what she called it in French. In English, it's often called Experiencing God Through Prayer, or Experiencing the Depths of Jesus Christ. You see it like that. But this is called Experiencing God Through Prayer. This was the Whitaker House Publishing, edited by Donna MacArthur. But I want to read what she says. She says, thirsting for God. That's her first chapter. Some of you are familiar with A. W. Tozer. He wrote a beautiful chapter in one of his books called A Thirst for God. A Thirst for God. Anyway, thirsting for God. This is Madame Guyon. She says, everyone is capable of praying. But many have the mistaken idea they are not called to prayer. Just as we are called to salvation, we are called to prayer. Scripture commands us to pray without ceasing. Prayer is nothing more than turning our heart toward God and receiving in turn His love. Prayer is turning our heart toward God and receiving in turn His love. Now, why is this so important? Okay, first of all, there was an idea, and there still is an idea that the highest form of prayer, like contemplation or contemplative prayer, the idea was that it was just for someone in a monastery, for some monk or a priest or someone like that, a spiritual person living somewhere on the side of a mountain. And Madame Guyon says, no, everybody can pray. Everybody can pray. And what is prayer? She says it's turning your heart to God and receiving in turn His love. So now you see what the meditation is. I call it meditation. I could call it contemplative prayer. In fact, a version of my meditation I call prayer meditation. You learn to sit still, okay, and you're basically turning your heart to God, and then you receive His love, which at first is light. See, remember, light has both light and warmth, like the sunlight has both light and warmth, brightness and warmth. Okay? So from God you get light and love. You get truth and love. So God's light, that's the first thing you will notice when you start to meditate, is properly, is then you'll begin to see things the way they are, in the present, in God's presence. You begin to see in His light. You begin to see just like 1 plus 1 equals 2. You can see that 1 plus 1 equals 2. You don't have to memorize it because you can see that it is so. Likewise, you can begin to see things. So when you, in God's light, when you see that you're wrong, for example, you see that you're resenting someone. You see that you're resenting a person, and you see that resenting is wrong. You just see it. Well, before you never saw it. Or you saw it but didn't realize it was wrong. See, God doesn't require us to be sorry for things we don't know why is wrong. That's why he sends his light. Now you see, oh, I see. That's why I'm impatient with my children. It's because I'm resentful. See, there you see that. Okay, in God's light. So everybody is capable of the meditation. Okay, everybody is capable of turning their heart to God. Okay, and receiving his light and his love. So let me stop at that point. And I thank you. And get started. Get the meditation and get started. My name is Pastor Roland.